Hello, beautiful souls. Victoria over here with Soul Healing Tribe. And today I want to teach you how to understand better the numerology so that when you're looking online, you have a better idea of what you're doing to put together your numerology chart, especially the Lo Shu grid. That's what I want to focus on today. So I'm going to give you a lot of insights about what it means, how to look at it, and it's going to be a pretty in-depth conversation. And I think sometimes people don't realize that for many, many, many thousands of years, our ancestors have been worshiping natural forces, the energy of the water, the energy of the sky, the energy of the earth, fire. And they did this, and we continue to do it to appease these vital force energies that are nature like, right? So we know that our Taínos did it, our African ancestors did it. Every part of the different civilizations throughout the ages have done this. So once we understand that, we can really appreciate this a little more. I want you to consider that this information was channeled. I have given you some of a little bit of piece of that, but I really want you to know that even in the ancient times, this information was channel information that it still works today, which is why I find this fascinating. So for the Chinese, how do we come to the Lo Shu? And the reason why I'm fascinated about the Lo Shu is because unlike some other numerology-based divination tools, we don't have to be initiated to practice Vedic or Chinese numerology or Western numerology. So we can pull so much information about who we are and how what was predetermined. The day that we were born was predetermined. We didn't choose it. It happened. The name was given to us by our parents and so on. So all of that has very important information about who we are and what we can do to change the outcome, like what we want out of life. So for the Chinese, they think about the elements as fire, water, metal, wood, and earth, right? So about 4,000 years ago, I think I shared the video before. I really want you to find that video that I shared before. But if you missed that video, just know that about 4,000 years ago, there was a river in China called Lo Shu, called Lo, L-O. And there was an emperor called Wu, and he noticed that the tortoise shell had a pretty amazing geometry pattern, little squares by 3 squares. And based on that and the fact that the Lo River kind of like floated and people started doing a lot of sacrifices to appease that energy. And when the Emperor Wood noticed the sacred geometry in the tortoise shell, he started really seeing the magic of the little squares and what it meant. And it is that inspiration, if you want to call it channeling experience, that the emperor went through in order for this idea of the Lo Shu grid to come into place. So when we think about the Lo Shu and how we see it, I want you to really consider that the magic of it, not only it is 9 squares, so basically 3 rows by 3, and you get 9 little squares. Let me see if I can. I think I show a video before. I show how it looks. Let me see if I can draw this for you guys so you know what I'm talking about. So let's see if you guys can see this. So, oh my goodness. So we have 1, 2, and 3, and then we have 3. So we have, this is the Lo Shu, and based on numerology, and I'm going to show you how we get to this. This is number 1, this is number 9, this is number 2, it's counterclock. This is number 6, 7, 5 right in the center. This is number 4. This is number 3, and this is number 8. I'm going to show you how I how we get to these numbers. But what I really want you to know is when we do this, no matter how you add it, 258 is going to give you 15, 97, 276 is going to give you 15, 951 is going to give you 15, 438 is going to give you, no matter how you add it, it's going to, you always going to get 15. Even when you do this, and you know that there are 15 days between a new moon and a full moon, this becomes really magical. And he did this came from the idea of the tortoise shell, and influence not only the feng shui, the nine star key, but it also influenced numerology, astrology, Chinese astrology, and the diagram therapy that it is done. So from the Lo Shu, we get, let me just close it so you can see me. We get all of that, which is, I just find it fascinating. So each number represents a specific direction, right? Element, color, and planet. And that's how it, with the Chinese numerology, we have not only a little bit of astrology, but we also have obviously the numerology. So it's a pretty interesting combination, to be honest. And it can give us so much awareness about who we are the different planes, because all of these, let me go back to the whiteboard so I can show you what I mean. I have such a hard time with the whiteboard, but I just want to give you this because, so here we have, again, let's say we have the square, the grid. Oh my God, let me start again. Oops. I'm not very good with the whiteboard. Okay. So we have the grid, we have the little squares, we have the rows, and so on. Now, what we need to know is that when we rotate them counterclockwise and we have the numbers, okay, so we have the 5 always in the center. This is number 7, and this is number 6. All of these numbers are going to have everything that I mentioned. It's going to have the direction, it's going to have the color, it's going to have the element, and it's going to show us what it means for us based on the date of birth that we have, based on the number of the day that we were born, the destiny number, and the combination of all of those numbers. It's going to give us inside information about the different planes. For example, this is the silver plane, this is the golden plane. It doesn't go through the one, it's just that I'm not very good at making a straight line. We have the willpower plane, we have the action plane, the thought plane, the practical plane, the emotional plane, and the mental plane. So all of these numbers, for example, this is southwest, and this is, it's just going to go in this counterclockwise rotation. So let me just make sure that how do I want to see how I can do another one. I couldn't figure it out. So anyway, so when we know the different planes and how they go and what numbers we have within those planes or what numbers we're missing, and they're also not only the full plane, but 2 numbers are composed as a smaller plane. So there's so many different variations, and we can really play a lot with what it means based on the numbers, and are they together good numbers, or they create negativity within the numbers so that it can impact you negatively. So for example, if there is a missing number or a whole plane of a system number, that's going to create a lot of shadow aspects for you and a lot of challenges that you need to be aware of. So let's see, I want to move on to let's go over the the elements, because I don't think we went over that. So when we think about the numbers, and every number within the grid has specific elements. So for example, the number 9 is the fire energy, right? So when we think about the plane of existence that has the 9, we know that the number 9 is the fire element. So we think about the south direction, and this number is going to give us a lot of creative power. It's going to give us a lot of destructive energy too, because it can become very violent, and it can create a lot of vitality, a lot of strength, but it also, obviously, all the numbers have the shadow. So we're going to go through that as well. So think about number 9 as the fire element as the number 9, the color red, a lot of energy, a lot of vitality coming through, and a little bit sometimes short temper. These people can really get triggered really fast, right? The constructive cycle of the fire is the wood, and the destructive is water. So keep that in mind. So when we move on to the energy of the earth element, when you think about the earth, normally noontime, right after noontime, is when the earth element comes into position. It's horizontal, and the numbers in the plane are the 2, 5, and 8. So when we think about the 2, 5, and 8, which is also the silver plane, we're going to think about the energy of the earth element. Can we get what we want here? Can we be successful? Can we tap into the spirituality and the physical and be in balance? So the number of earth, the element earth, the 2, 5, and 8 are going to have different colors. For example, the number 2 is going to have a pink color because it's related to family, relationships, and so on. Love as well. Where the number 5 is going to be yellow, orange, brown color, and the number 8 is going to have like a blue, green, and even black color. So when we think about the 2, 5, and 8, we're combining the spiritual with the physical. So if we have that plane, that silver plane, that means that we're going to be able to accomplish a lot in this life here now. However, if a number is missing, there will be things that you will need to do in order for you to have balance with this silver plane. Similar with when you think about the 4, 5, and 6 plane, which is the golden plane, that means that you come with so much power, God gives the power, but you really have to look at the other numbers to know what to pay attention to, because sometimes even when you're missing the 4, 5, 6, you can have the silver plane be more productive for you depending on your life mission. So there are a lot of pieces that we're looking at when we look at the different elements and the different numbers within your grade. So for example, the metal element, which is, Ogun's energy. We always talk about the warriors, the Oguns, right? So this energy is simple, is honest, is straightforward, strong will, very strong, responsible. They take really fast. They're really good at making fast decisions. There are a lot of shadows there too, though. So we have to always be aware of the shadows. These people need to contemplate. If you have a lot of metal energy, you need to contemplate a lot, because the metal energy, normally the times is in the late evening. The direction is west, and we know what west means, and the energy of those numbers are 7, very spiritual. Number 6, a lot of it's family, but it's channeling. And if you're not concentrating and you're not balancing your energy, you could be channeling from the left side, if you know what I mean. So these people can be really good prophets, really good mentors, very people oriented, adventurous, that they might want to travel a lot, like with the energy of the number 6 and 7. These people like adventure. They get along with those that have elements, a lot of elements of earth, but not with fire. So because fire destroys the metal, right? So we have to keep that in mind when we even look at the partnership that we're thinking of, or when somebody says, is this person in alignment with me? We look at all of these things to know if there is proper alignment, or if it's going to be a lot of fighting and a lot of deceit and so disloyalty and so on. When we look at the water element, I want you to think about water: peaceful, kind, secretive. They tend to be very deep rooted, because water, you need a lot of water in the ground in order for the trees to grow. So they tend to have a lot of energy that can be grounding, even though they are very they might be they might have a lot of not only water, but a lot of metal and other energies that make things spacey. Like, they can still be grounded because of the water element in them. So they call the energy of prosperity. Secretive, they might be interested in the occult. They are the yin energy. So think about when things like the trees and the plants and the flowers, when we wake up in the morning, we see how much they change. So it's an energy of creation. It's the season of winter, but it's creation, and it can be cold and very darkness. So, and also think about the energy of north, like really think about all the pieces in order for you to think about what water means in my Lo Shu grid. So communication as well, transmission, channeling, clarity, mental clarity, but might not be may not have mental clarity if the person has too much water in them. So there is a fine balance between the things, and when we look at the grid, we're looking at all of these pieces. Okay, so when we think about wood, that's the one that I'm missing. When we think about wood, we're thinking about like water helps wood, right? So wood gets the shape from really having water coming to them, so they go really well together. They are very similar to water that has this creation energy. Wood also has this creation energy because it has to have a lot of water in it, right? So it's related to birth and rebirth, morning, spring. It's related to the change of seasons. So a lot of people that are very enlightened, they have a lot of wood energy in them. It takes a lot of energy, and they spread out just like the trees, like they spread out. So when you think about wood, think about trees in nature. So the time of the day is sunrise, when everything is new, everything is expanding and dispersing, and it just feels like, wow, new energy is coming in. Maybe even the construction of things. When you think about even energy awakening, like we're now in the Pisces in the Pisces season, right? Like I'm sorry, the age of Aquarius season. Like for thousands of years we're going to be here, right? So think about that energy, like the Aquarius energy. But why I'm thinking about Pisces too, though. Anyway, so when you think about wood, you're thinking about the elements and the numbers 3 and 4, because when we know that the energy of 3 and 4, and you don't have those numbers in your chart, we're going to have to look at how do we balance that energy. So they're also related to the circulation in the blood, the nervous system, and nutrition, of course. So because of like the trees. So when you think about everything that it means, everything that we're doing with the energy of wood, we're thinking about not only the development of the development of energy, like how do we make energy do specific things, and how it disperses, and it's like it doesn't, it's just like going like this, right? Like a tree, like a palm tree. Like I'm thinking about this. So the direction is east, and the elements are 3 and 4. With water, the number is only 1. Fire is only number 9. So now we have fire number 9, water number 1, and the metal that are 7 and 6, and wood that are 3 and 4. So now we have the whole grid, and now we can see. I'm not going to give you the colors because that's going to be too much information. But if you want to look it up, like the color of the one is the sunrise. You look at the color of the water, you may be looking at a blue energy, like really strong blue. You may be looking at the energy of the tree, right? Like the tree could be hardwood, it could be the green, the soft green, the dark green, where the number 4 is going to be like purplish green, red, even blue. So, or even gold, like it can even be gold with the number 4. So because you have a little bit of material aspect to the number 4 that you don't necessarily have with the number 3. So when you think about all of these things that we need to pay attention with numerology, I want you to consider some of these things that are directly linked to the Chinese numerology. Everything else, let's put it to the side for a moment, but they might be well go together with the Western numerology. And I have done the Western numerology like a couple of years ago. This is going to be more for the Chinese numerology. So when we think about number 1, we really need to start thinking about our thoughts. Number 1 has that energy of the Alpha and the Omega. They cannot put themselves in other people's shoe if they only have one number 1 in their Lo Shu grade. If they have 2, they're going to be able to do that. They're going to be able to have balance. But if you only have number 1 in your Lo Shu grade, you're going to have a hard time understanding what other people are thinking. Where in number 2, if you have number 2, you are going to be very intuitive. You're going to be able to know what other people are thinking. You're going to be able to know before they even can think about it. So you see how one thing, just depending on where it is and how they're connected in your grid, can how many numbers in the grid in each little square you have is going to have a specific situation that will be different than somebody else that has a different combination. So when we think about let me give you the physical aspect. So when we think about the number 1, we're going to be thinking about our thoughts, like a mental capacity. Our number 2 is going to be abdomen, because we have a lot of water, like the stomach is the part that, and the organs hold the most water, right? In the body, right? Besides the skin. So you're going to be looking at what challenges we may have in those areas if it's not in balance. Where the number 3 is going to be the legs, ankles, and knees, and the number 4 is going to be also the thoughts, but the brain and the eyes. Number 5, you're going to be thinking about every organ in your body. It's going to resonate with that frequency of the number 5, and you can become very anxious if you're not paying attention to that. The number 6 is about the head. The number 7 is going to be about the mouth and the lungs. The number 8 is going to be about the hands. The number 9 is going to be about the eyes, heart, and blood. So when we have all of these things that we need to keep, like we need to know, and we put it down in paper, we're going to be able to see better what the heck is going on. So what I'm going to do is, let's see if I can do the whiteboard again. Where is it? Okay, let's do the whiteboard. And I want to draw for you. Oh. Okay. I have the Lo Shu. I cannot tell you how many dreams. Oh my gosh, I should have made that bigger. How many dreams I have had with numerology, which is why I'm fascinated by it, and I continue to be fascinated by it. So the horizontal planes, I'm going to give you that. This is the mental plane on the top. Oh my God, it's terrible. It's so hard to write with this thing. This is the emotional, and this is the practical plane. I'm just going to put the initials because it's too much to write. When we think about the vertical plane, we have the thought plane on the top left. We have the willpower plane. Whew. And we have the action plane. Terrible. Okay, so we said that the mental plane is going to be 4. Well, I didn't tell you that before. 9 and 2. It goes across this way, guys. So it goes this way. This plane, the mental plane, goes 492. So if you have 492 in your destiny number, you're going to have these numbers here. The emotional plane is 3, 5, and 7. And the practical plane, we have 8, 1, and 6. Now, remember I told you as well that we have this is the golden plane, and it comes this way. So this is the golden plane. The golden plane, not the plane. Golden plane. Or the spiritual plane. Spiritual plane. Or the success plane. And it's gonna, the numbers, how you analyze them, it's gonna make sense later. This is also the silver plane. And what we're doing when we're looking at the silver plane, I'm sorry, it doesn't have the 7 here. It's just that I don't know how to make it straight. How do I undo for 1 second so I don't have that there? I don't know how to undo, but it's 2, 5, and 8. The silver plane is 2, 5, and 8. So if you have the silver plane, you have the 2, 5, and 8. The golden plane or the spiritual plane is 4, 5, and 6. So don't get confused. Okay, so once we have that, and now remember I told you that we also have the small float numbers. So the small float number can be 9, 7, can be 1, 7, it can be 3, 9. So it depends how we're going to read it. So I want you to keep that in mind. So when we think about that, let me just go back to the main thing so you can see me. But when we think about what this all means, we're going to also be thinking about, like, okay, when we see these numbers, what is it telling us? Like, why does it matter? What do I need to pay attention to, right? Because the missing or the minor flow numbers or the missing planes or the missing numbers can create a lot of shadow aspects for us. And some of us have more than others. And I'm going to give you an example. So, for example, number 1, the number 1 in the middle of the practical plane. Okay, let me bring it back up, because that way you can follow along with me. Otherwise, it's going to become too difficult for you to follow along. Okay, so let me do it again. We have the green. Oh my God, let me just start from 0. Oh, see, this is why I show. Okay, let me just keep going. So we have the green. We have 1, which is the water number, 9, the fire number. We have 2, the moon number. We have 4, which is Rahu. We have 3. We have 5. We have 7, 6, and 8. Okay, so when I'm going to give you the planets now so you will know, you can follow me. So this is a sun number. And with a sun number 1, the direction is north. And when we think about what it means, this represents responsibility. This number here represents, are we able to take responsibility? Do we have difficulty expressing emotions? Can we show our inner feelings? It may also show how stubborn we are. It might show, can we understand other people? Can we put ourselves in their shoes? It can also show someone that is very authoritative, but somebody that is sharp, that can achieve, has a lot of potential to achieve success and receive a lot of promotions and achieve goals. So it's a pretty good number to have, to be honest. Then the second one is the moon, with the number 2, planet moon. And the planet moon here is going to have the element of, oh, I forgot to put it here. This is water. Number 1 is water. Moon has the element of earth. It's so hard to write on this. And the direction is southwest, according to Chinese numerology, the Lo Shu. So we have this number 2 affects love, marriage, relationships, intuition, sensitivity, being farsighted, being able to listen to our intuitive power, being analytical, loving family, our kids, our partners. Probably don't like working for government jobs because you it's like these people at the same time are very kind-hearted, and they don't like dishonesty, and they can see dishonesty in other people. So working for the government can be very hard for these people. So, and they have really like self-esteem can be really good. Strong self-esteem. If it's in balance, if it depending how many number 2s you have in your chart. So now let's go to the number 3, because the number 3 here, these are people that are, this is the, remember oh man, how do I get all of this in this little chart? This is the emotional plane here, starting with the number 3. And this emotional plane, but this, remember, this is also the thought plane. So the 3 is in the middle of the thought plane, and it's the first in the emotional plane. So the direction is east. I wish I knew how to write better. Planet Jupiter. So these people are really good with knowledge. And the element is wood. Wood. And it affects family, relationship, and health, internal health. So these people are very good to use their words. Their throat chakra is very powerful. They can really be good at invoking mantras, prayers. They have very positive outlook in life. They're very creative. They're farsighted because they have the energy of the 1 and 2. So number 3 has the energy of 1 and 2. So they're farsighted, creative, happy, you know, like they have this vibe. Everything just, it's really good for these people. They attract health and wealth and success, and you know, they're just good. They are socially aware because of the number 2 and the number 1, and they're intuitive, and they're emotional, and they're intelligent. Like, these people are lucky people. Obviously, I'm a little jealous, right? You can see that. So number 4 is Rahu, planet Rahu. Rahu. And because of Rahu, these people can attract a lot of wealth, fortune, prosperity. The element is wood, just like the number 3. Wood, just like the number 3. And they're very courageous people. They're, you know, sometimes they do think too much. They overthink things and can become very unpractical. They have good memory. They're detail-oriented. They're tidy, organized people. Like, everything that I know. Like, they're organized, they have a good balance, they're like, ooh, life is good here if it's in balance. But they can also be very stubborn. Sometimes they don't know how to listen. So anyways, let's move on to the number 5. So the number 5 is right here in the center. It never moves from the center. This is the energy of Mercury. Very good energy here with Mercury. And the element is Earth. So remember, there is this silver plane that goes from 2, 5A. So this is also Earth, but we'll get there. And this is the silver plane. So we just completed a silver plane if we do this, right? But anyway, so number 5 is a earth element. There is a lot of physical strength, health. These people have a really good luck with health. And they also have spiritual powers. Like they're probably more psychic than they can see themselves. And in the Vedic numerology, and yeah, in the Vedic numerology, because it is the 5 also, just like the Chaldean is, there is a gray, but the only thing is that the 492 are at the bottom. With the Lo Shu, the 492 are on the top, but in Vedic numerology, the 492 are on the bottom, but the 5 is right also in the center. And the reason why is because this number gives about 70 to 80% of chances of the person attracting and having a lot of success in their life, which is like a magic number. Like no, everybody has number 5. Like some people have number 5, but not everybody's going to have number 5. Like number 5 is one of those the rare numbers to have. Like if you have number 5, consider yourself lucky, because the possibility of you attracting success is pretty magical. And we also said that there are 15 days between the new moon and the full moon and all of that. And this is also why this number stays right in the center, because no matter how you move this, you're always going to have 15. So Mercury here is very spiritual number. So these people tend to be very spiritual. And then we're going to go over like, what does that mean when you have more than 1 5? Because some people, like my father, has like 3 or 4 5s. I know that's a lot of 5s, but you know why? It's because of the date of birth. Those people are older. So very emotional, stable people, like their emotional power is in balance. Like their emotional power is in balance. It's balance, not imbalance, it's balance. And they are experts at finding fault in other people. Like my father is one of those people. The first thing he will say is something that he's saying it from one perspective, but it's like a joke, but it's like, it's not a joke, don't say that. And it's just like part of their nature. Like they really need to watch what they're saying, because sometimes they hurt people without knowing that they're hurting people. So they can become obsessive as well, though. And these people, they also have a lot of empath ability, but that's if they're pretty conscious, because sometimes they hide behind making jokes. So they're fun, they're jokers, they, like they're impatient sometimes, they live a really good long life, they have good health, like they barely get sick, like it's just amazing. They bring so much success. If you have number 5, that's a very lucky number to have. Now with the number 6, this is the practical plane, and that number 6 is the last one in the practical plane, because it goes like this, right? So now we have number 6, this number, and it's also the last one in the action plane. So, and the last one in the success plane. So we have the energy of Venus, and we have metal as the element here. And hold on, there is one thing. Yep, northwest. Just wanted to mention. Sometimes I forget with all of these directions. I'm not very good with directions. So all of these directions I normally screwed up and I have to look it up. Northwest. So don't question me on that because I'm gonna fail. So we have the Northwest here. We have, let me just, I want to make sure that I give you all the directions properly. Okay. Yeah, I did. Because otherwise, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, she doesn't know anything. Which I don't. I'm a baby when it comes to knowing anything. Okay, so anyways, number 6 here. We have the energy of Venus, the element of metal. These people, think about Venus with Libra, think about Venus with Virgo, think about Libra with these people that are always very creative, imaginative, they're beautiful, they're attracted to like arts and stuff like that. And they really like sexual stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? They love traveling, they like the good life, like things have to be tidy, they can become obsessive sometimes, like perfectionists. And there's a lot of energy here with the head, so these people really have to watch what they're putting in their heads. It just feels heavy sometimes with these people here with the number 6. And they also, like, I see artsy people, like very creative, but sometimes they become too perfectionist. Like, you know, the painter that takes 20 years to paint, or the painter that is learning and takes 2 years to create one painting, like that. Like they can become obsessive. So anyways, let's move on to, I don't know why number 6 right now is acting a little crazy for me. Like I feel a little something there. It just feels a little obsessive sometimes, to the point where it's not, you know, they like elegance, beauty, art, entertainment. They're really good for like filmmaking and stuff like that, but there is something there that needs to be really taken care of with their head, because sometimes it can be too much, especially with the energy of metal here, you know, like. Anyway, so let's go to number 7. Number 7, we know this is a very spiritual number. It is at the end of the emotional plane, and it is in the middle of the action plane. This is the action plane, willpower plane, and mental plane, thought plane, willpower, action plane. And the number 7 is right in the middle of the action plane and at the end of the emotional plane. So you have here the energy of, well, the direction is west, energy of Ketu, the ruled by Ketu. And you have someone that is very spiritual. The element is metal as well, just like the number 6, but I don't know, I like the number. Anyways, I'm not even gonna say that, but you know what I was gonna say. So this metal energy element, and these people, the areas that this affect is the offsprings, like our children, creativity, and spirituality. So when you think about the number 7, you're thinking about like these people can have really good potential to have like a happy marriage, like a married life, happy married life. They're good travelers. They're really great healers. The number 7 here, excellent healers with this energy. And you have strong intuitive power, intuitive, just like the number 2. And you have psychics, and you have like people that are learning. These people learn after they lose something important to them. Like they go through a spiritual awakening after they lose something, whether it is health, love, or possessions, material possessions. So with the energy of Ketu, you also have to take care of your head here, because of the metal energy as well here. So you have to really take care of your head, like really pay attention to like your head, covering your head, making sure that your neck is clear, making sure that you might cover if you go, you know, if you're going through awakening. They're really good conversionists, conversionists. having good conversations. And this energy rules the mouth and the lungs. So prana comes through and the lungs process that, right? So you really have to watch out. No, even if you're snoring at night, like that might indicate something to you about stuff that is going up in the astral plane. So you're looking at the whole thing. You're not looking just at the obvious thing. So let's move on to the number 8. Number 8 here is the beginning of the practical plane and the end of the thought plane. So these people, here is the northeast. Northeast. Okay, I swear we're gonna be done sometime today, guys. This is the northeast. The planet is Saturn with the number 8. Saturn rules the number 8. And the element is earth. Remember, this is the end of the zero plane. So you have the earth element here. This number 8 is basically the areas that it affects is knowledge, spirituality, and self-development, like self-improvement as well as power. So we have people here that are very ambitious. They are excellent in work. They really have this justice energy to them, like, you know, like legal. They could be in the legal system, in education, in real estate, but they do things. They're known to be just people. Like they will do good by you if they're your friends or if you work with them. They can become workaholic and they pay attention to a lot of details. Obesity is a problem here. Can you tell that I have number 8? I do. Obesity is a problem here, and very analytical mind. This is at the end of the thought plane and the beginning of the practical plane, so they can make things practical and analyze big things and put them into practice reasonably. Very strong morals here with the number 8, and they could easily be influenced by like masters, gurus, and so on, which is why I don't know, I have something here with that because I don't really follow people like that, but I can definitely see a lot of number 8. I seen a lot of number 8s that are easily influenced. But you tell me one thing, I will believe it, even if you're not a guru. Like, so I cannot say that I'm not, because I can easily be persuaded to do things that, or believe something that, like some people wouldn't even consider. So I definitely know that this is very true. And then the number 9, which I also have, is the beginning of the will plane and the middle of the mental plane. So these people have the direction is south. So water is north and number 9 is south. The energy of Mars, war, fighting, goons, warriors, and so on. Very humanitarian energy. They tend to obtain a lot of fame and recognition in their careers and society. They're very idealistic and ambitious people. They can be very combative and, short temper. They are down to earth though, so that's a good pro. They do have a lot of energy. And we have to really take care of our eyes, heart, and blood. I'm not gonna write everything down for you. So let's go through how can I do 2 whiteboards? How do I do that? Oh my God, this is so hard. So let me just give you an example. Let's say someone has the energy of 1, this energy here. These people are going to be having all of those positive qualities of the number 1. There is balance, if they have, the only thing that they will need is that they need to be able to put themselves in the shoes of other people, right? So they might, if they have two number ones, these people are in balance. But if they only have one number one, that means that they could be, they will not be able to understand other people's opinion, what other people are going through. So they will not be good for work that are in the healing arts, because they cannot put themselves in other people's shoes. But now if you have two number ones or three number ones, then you are able to do this, because you now, with the extra energy of the number one, will know how to balance and pull yourself to the side so that you can understand what the other people are going through. So you can, now if you have three number ones, you can decide, now I'm going to be an introvert, and then the next minute I can be an extrovert, because you have the power to switch in and out of the roles without issues. Now, if you have four, this means that the person is way too sensitive. I know some people that have five, so trust me, I see it. If you have four, this means that the person is way too sensitive and that cannot express themselves properly. So they might feel really alone and isolated, even though when they're surrounded by other people. If they have five or more, they're going to have a lot of problems and struggles, because there's no balance. It's just way too negative. They may even become narcissists. So something to pay attention to. So the shadow aspect of the number one is going to be, oh, let's see, can I do that? Oh, maybe that's what it is. I need to increase the screen. The shadow aspect of the number one is that they cannot communicate, they cannot express, and they cannot understand what other people are going through. They can become very anxious, and they might lack confidence if they're not in balance. Now, if with the number two, these people they have very good intuitive power. If they have two number twos, so they have two number twos, that means that they're excellent median psychics, whatever. They're really good at judging others, even with number one. But now with number two, they're really to the next level. They can easily get irritated on. They are very courageous and wise. If you have number three, though, that means that you are a little way too sensitive, and you can become moody, but you are highly intuitive. You have a lot of intuitive power, but you need isolation. So, and if you have four, oh my goodness, that means we need to be careful, because there could be mental disorders here due to a lot of being oversensitive and knowing what's happening at a different planes of existence, and it's affecting you here in the physical. So having a lot of number two sometimes is not a good idea. Of course, we didn't pick this, but we can learn to manage this by doing inner work, so that we can be careful with what's going on in our mind, our thoughts, our third eye, our crown. This is serious, and I know some people that my nephew has four number twos, and he's extremely gifted. Like, this kid is something else. Sometimes it will be like, I just saw this outside in the patio, and I'll be running outside trying to look for the energy, the entity, and like trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Like, one time he saw a decapitated man in the patio, and he's like, Tia, there is a decapitated man in the patio. And I'm like, okay, I'm coming. So definitely here we really have to be attentive, especially if you have kids that have a lot of energy of the number twos. Definitely something to be attentive, so that there are no issues. These people might be diagnosed with different attention deficit disorder issues, and it's not that they're broken. It's that they can sense what other people cannot understand, and they don't know how to make sense out of it. So the shadow aspect here, though, even with one number two, is that they can have, if you have one number two, you might have a superiority complex situation going on. If you have two number two, you don't have the superiority complex, because you overcome that, but you might be too sensitive, even with two number twos. But with three number twos, you will not have the superiority complex because you'll be too down on like what's going on. So with number twos, you can have the superiority complex and easily get frustrated with things, even with very small issues. It will be hard to hear your inner voice if you have too much energy of the number twos, and hard to follow your intuition. You might make a lot of mistakes and become like, you might develop anxiety issues and depression issues. And making the mistakes is because your mind is not stable. So this is definitely a very serious situation here that we all need to be careful with. This is a very common number to have for a lot of kids now, with the born in the last 30-40 years, even now coming up in 2000, right, in 2020, because you have two, and especially now with 2024, right, you have two at least twice. And if you're born on the 2nd or the 20th, or a number that it gives you number two combined basic number, then we can have someone that, you know, like my nephew is born January 1st, 2022, 2009, I think it was. So he has 3, and then when you do the numbers and you get back to the basic number, you have an extra 2. So you have someone that has 4 number 2s. Very, very serious situation to be, you know, like he has anxiety issues because he's always like looking for something to do. Like he gets bored really easily, and he's just a really strong channeler. He's just too small and needs to learn through, you know, we all go through that, right? So anyways, so let's go to number 3. The number 3, these people have a very good, if you have one, you have positive approach, like good memory, prominent with your business and or career. If you have twice the number 3, your imagination is next level. But if you have it 3 times, it's like you get lost in it and you cannot become practical. You may even become argumentative because they cannot understand what you are creating in your mind, and it becomes like chaotic, and you might just, even though you have a lot of good mental power, you are not able to get that out and harness that energy. But if you have 3 and 4, you're going to be able to do that. So the shadow here becoming very impractical, becoming like to the point that you don't even care, because you're like, what's the point of dreaming if I cannot do anything with this? So you might not be able to express yourself. You might have self-confidence issues and inferior. This one has superiority complex, the number 2, and the number 3 has inferiority complex. Honestly, I'd rather have number 2 than number 3. I don't know why. Inferiority complex. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. So you have someone that cannot think logically because they're always in their dreams. Now with the number 4, you have a lot of balance, a lot of discipline, but you can become like, you can develop anxiety, and you have strong imagination, but put that with anxiety and you have someone that is always on the alert. So these people are very hardworking, they're disciplined, they can attract a lot of great things, but they have to be in the right mind, because otherwise what they attract is not what they want. They can become like, solitude could be a problem for these people, honestly, because sometimes they cannot listen, they cannot get along with people, they become very argumentative, they get lost in their dreams, they become too anxious. Sometimes they're not organized at all, depending on how much energy of the number 4 they have. And they can become very unsuccessful, struggle a lot mentally, and really get to the point where they're overthinking everything. So there are things that can be done though to overcome those things, but the person has to put a lot of energy if that's the case. So definitely a number to be careful as well with. The number 5 people here, I mean, these people are just lucky, balanced, fun, loving, beautiful. Now, if they have twice number 5, they're going to be like really excited for life. Like, let's do this. If they have 3 number 5s, they can become so self-absorbed. and they will make decisions that are like really impulsive, and then they're gonna regret it later. Sometimes they do things that can hurt other people because they're only thinking about themselves. So they can become overly confident and take extreme risk. I'm glad that I don't have number 5 like that, because with my other numbers and having a lot of energy of the number 5, it could be a really bad situation. So they're, even though they're numbers that are missing from a chart, sometimes that's okay, and it's what we want. So the shadow aspect of the number 5 is, again, they can become self-absorbed. They can make decisions that they later regret, so they can become regretful, overconfident, unhappy. They can hurt others. They might become very unsuccessful in their business and professions. They might need constant reminder about what they need to do and why. And sometimes they cannot finish what they start. So these people have a lot of work to do, even though they are lucky in general. There are things that need to be done in order for them to harness that luck that they have, that is God-given to them. With the energy of the number 6 here, and Venus, and the element of metal, and all of that, we have someone that with one number 6, they have a love for life, for beauty, for kids, for family, for their home. They love taking responsibility. Everything is really good and balanced. They can become really good creators and advisors, but they can also get to the point where they become possessive. So imagine you have someone that is having all these beautiful qualities, but now they have an extra number 6. You might have a mother that is like a helicopter mom. Let's say they have 3 number 6. Trust me, I know a lot of people with 3 number 6 and 4 number 6 and more. And these people can become narcissists, possessive, overprotected, to the point where it's like there's not a chance. You never feel free with them, so you feel like you're suffocating. So they can become very anxious people. They really look at small, every little thing is like a big deal. They get rage, anger. It's just like constantly, it's too much, which is why this energy makes me feel like this, because it's like I can feel it, all of that energy like bottle up, and like, oh, you didn't do this little thing. Or sometimes they don't even say it, they just they might do the thing and do it like angry, so that you can see that they did it. And it's like playing games. Like they can be gaslighting people. So you have to be careful with having too much of this energy, and you have to work on yourself. If you have a lot of that number 6 energy, you might become very vain, like physically worry about your physical state, always thinking that you're not good enough if you're not perfect. And sometimes it just becomes a disaster. Something to definitely be careful with and to pay attention. Now with the number 7, these people can, if you have a lot of number 7 energy, you can lose yourself in stuff that is not of this round. You can also be too worried about money and have this belief that you're a loser because you lose too many things, and you can make you unhappy because you keep losing things. So you can make you hopeless. So even though you're very spiritual and all of that stuff, if you have too much of the number 7, you can become hopeless. And it's because of all the things that you have lost or helpless. And eventually, if it was too much and you didn't have the right outlook or the right assistance, you can really get lost in it. It's sad sometimes with this energy. I feel it. I think sometimes these people have, like, if you have one number 7, you're really good with technology, spiritual, and all of that, you will lose something at one point in your life that is going to wake you up to spirituality. If you have it twice, it just means that you're going to lose more and wake up faster. It's going to be a big loss. You're going to wake up faster. You're going to really be inclined to work with a lot of like, you can grasp things that are very technological and break them down into simple things and understand that at a deeper level. If you have number 3 times 7, if you have 3 7s in your chart, that means that you are an unhappy person. You have lost too much and you feel unlucky. You feel like you cannot get a chance. You feel like, what's the point of all of this? Very depressive energy. If you have a lot of number 7, oh my God, I don't even know how to write. Okay, depressive energy. I should try to write that down. Depressive energy. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Anyway, so let's move on to number 8. With the number 8 here, we have, oh, another thing with number 7 is that sometimes they expect other people to do things for them. So, and they might even have issues having children, and that could be because of past life situations. So definitely with number 7, take a look at yourself. You might need some healing stuff because there is a lot going on if you have a lot of number 7 in your chart. If you have number 8, anxiety could be a real problem. These people, if you have only one, it's fine. It's not going to be out of hand. But if you have a lot of number 8, like 3 number 8s, we're going to have a problem with not only being stubborn, but dealing with anxiety, depression, and not having success at an early age. Your success is going to come after age 40. So you might lose a lot of hope before you get there, and you think this is it, and you might get depressive. But once you hit 40, things are going to start changing, and you're going to come out of a long cycle, within 40 to 44. So definitely something to know, to have hope. If you have a 4 time, these people like change. But if you have a 4 time, okay, so these people, there are some things that they don't like change with, but there are some things that they want change. If you have a 4 time, you're going to have someone that want to change things because they're always looking for the next thing, that in hope that they're going to feel better. But in general, number 8s don't like change so much. They tend to be stubborn, so change is not very good with them sometimes. But if you have more than 1A, you might be okay with the change, and you might be looking for what else is out there. They always looking for something new to do, and sometimes looking for the happiness that they cannot find. So number 8s can become very materialistic, stubborn, running away from themselves. They might struggle a lot of ups and downs. They might lack enthusiasm for life. They might not be very efficient. They might leave work undone, make poor decisions in general, may feel powerless and out of control, like they cannot control the emotions, a lot of up and down, this constant struggle. And finally, with the number 9, we have someone that is very ambitious, intelligent, humanitarian. We talked about this before, so I'm going to move on to they're always thinking about self-improvement, right? So if you have 2 number 9s, that's amazing. If you have 3 number 9s, they're really bad at, good, I guess. I'm making little things a big deal. So bad, I guess. So they might have a lot of intelligence, a lot of sharpness. They're blessed, a lot of beautiful things. They have so much power. But the thing is that they get really short temper. So they might deal with a lot of rage, and things that if they don't express, can become like a bomb. So they might have cardiac arrest issues and so on. They might even get to the point where all of that energy is trapped, and it's easy to flip over and get out of control. The shadow aspect of the number 9 is that they're very ambitious. So they're always looking for what else. And in hunt for power, they can always be looking for the next fight. The fight within them makes them feel like there is something here, passionate. They're very passionate, but they can be passionate in the bad way too, meaning really angry. And they can deal with depression because they don't know how to harness that energy if it's out of balance or if it's too much. So they might not be able to manage their money. They might lose their money. They might lack enthusiasm for life. They might lack confidence. They might not be able to control the emotions. So it could be a major disaster, but they have so much power that they might just need help with knowing how to control of that energy within them. So anyways, I think I have given you, you know what, I'm going to also give you um some of the little yeah, I'm going to do that. Let's see how, because it's so messy here. But anyway, so let's see how I can do this. Okay, so let's go through. We know that the action plane is 2, 7, and 6. The will plane is 9, 5, and 1. The thought plane is 4, 3, and 8. Mental plane 4, 9, and 2. Emotional plane 3, 5, 7. The practical plane 8, 1, 6. The success plane or spiritual plane 4, 5, 6. The silver plane 2, 5, 8. Now we also have different planes, but before I get to that, I'm just going to say the following. I'm going to tell you that for example, let me just start with, depending on what numbers you have, you know, the ideal situation, well, there's no such thing as an ideal situation, because every configuration is going to give you a different, very key characteristics about who you are at the mental plane, the emotional plane, physical plane, practical plane, willpower. All of these are planes of existence. This is the physical, this is the emotional, this is the mental, and so on, right? So all of these are planes of existence. We know there are different planes of existence. So when we think about it, for example, let's say the 2, 5, and 8, let's say all these numbers are missing. That means that you're going to have someone that is going to be very unsuccessful. They're going to become easily frustrated and hopeless. So if you're missing, let me see where I can write this. The silver plane, oh my God, is 2, 5, 8. This is the earth plane. So in the earth plane, you're going to become if it's missing, very unsuccessful, like no matter how hard you try. So there are things that you're going to have to do to balance those missing numbers in order for you to achieve success. So unsuccessful. Oh my God, I cannot. Sorry, this thing is sticking. Can I type it in? How do I type this in? I'm trying to read the different directions here to type it in. Oh, comment, test. Oh, test. So unsuccessful. Oh. So they're going to become very unsuccessful, right? So now we know if you're missing 2, 5, 8, you are going to have to work to make sure that you balance that energy, because otherwise you're prone to be unsuccessful. That's what it means. So, and you can become very, oh my God, how come I didn't see this before? You can become very hopeless. You could even become super frustrated, etc., etc. So now let's say we're going to talk about the mental plane, which is 492, right? It goes across. Let me show it to you so you know what I'm saying. The mental plane 492. And these people, I'm getting a message here. And these people are, if the will plane, if I'm sorry, the mental plane is missing all of these numbers, we are going to deal with someone that is going to have issues with the mind, issues with the mind. We're going to have all of these are issues with the mind, issues with memory, excessive thinking. Oh, I'm not writing it down. Oh my God. Sorry, let me just put it here. So we have someone that is issues with the mind, memory, like Alzheimer's, excessive thinking, and mental imbalances. Okay, so now let's say we are going to look at the, let's see, 358, emotional plane. Emotional plane. And we have someone, did I say 35? It's 357. Why did I say 358? It's 357. Anyway, so now we have someone that is going to deal with a lot of loneliness because they don't know how to express themselves. They don't know how to connect with other, not able to connect with other. And they might prioritize work and goals, projects, but then later in life, when they get older, they're going to regret that because then they're not going to have a lot of people around them. They're going to feel very lonely. So wouldn't that be nice to know that before you get to 50 so that you can start working on that by the time that you get to 70? So that is the number of loneliness, the emotional plane. If you're not having any of those numbers, you're going to have issues with feeling lonely. You can expect to have a lot of issues when you get older because you're not connecting. People are not connecting with you. You don't know how to express yourself and so on. So of course, nobody's going to be around later on. Now, let's say this number here, the practical plane, if you don't have these numbers, the A16, you're going to have issues with, you're going to have lost, you know. The practical plane is A16. And if you don't have those numbers in your chart, you are going to, this is the number flow of, let's call it of loss. And basically, you're going to work hard, but you're not going to get what you want. So there are things that you need to do to get what you want. Now, let's say the number for, yeah, the thought plane, the 438. This is the number of confusion. This is the thought plane. So if you don't have those numbers, you're going to deal with a lot of confusion in your life. This is the thought plane, and it goes from 4, 3, 8. So if you don't have those numbers, you're going to deal with a lot of confusion in life. The number, the plane of, basically flow of confusion, let's call it. Now, the willpower number, 951. Willpower, which is 951, is going to be the number. Dun, dun, dun. Guess what? Indecision. Not knowing. Because you don't have what it takes. You're missing the key numbers, the key elements to make you make decisions. So you're going to deal with a lot of indecision, which can be quite frustrating. Now, let's say the action plane number, the 276. Action plane 276 is the flow. This is the plane that represents if it's missing. If missing, it represents apathy, laziness, weak in decision making, can't take opportunity, can't take risk. I have a lot of these numbers, so you know that I'm a risk taker. Oh, why is it like that? Okay. Okay, let's see. So now we talked about the different, I think I'm gonna stop there. But now let's say you have, like 3 and 9 represents a small flow number. 9 and 7, another small flow. 7 and 9 and 1 and 3 represent another small flow. Those numbers too will show us, for example, if you have 3 and 9, that number means that you're going to be very argumentative. You're going to have core related issues. You need to be careful with that because you might lose by taking things to court by being too impulsive. Or if you have like the 9 and 7, this is really good positive. The 3 and 9, not so much. But the 9 and 7 is very positive numbers to have. So when you have that means that you're going to have confidence in yourself. You're going to have spiritual or religious faith. You're going to be able to tap into your spiritual power. You're going to be able to have mental peace, regardless of what's going on. So the 9 and 7 are really good to have, but the 3 and 9, not so much. Or the 7 and 1, like right here. These people don't trust. If you have 7 and 1, that means that you're going to have issues with trusting people. So not trusting but trusting you have to investigate everything. Sorry, I'm thinking about the 3 and 1. The 3 and 1 don't have trust. The 7 and 1, they trust, but they have to research. They have to be proven. Where the 3 and 1, they don't trust no one. They have issues. They cannot tolerate mistakes. The 3 and 1 has a negative impact on the person, where the 7 and 1 has a positive impact, and the 9 and 7 has a positive impact. So the numbers really help us really know what's going on at a deep level with the person that they don't even know themselves. So for example, let's say that your birthday is, I'm gonna do my nephew's, the 22 2009, I think it was. So now we're gonna do the grid. I'm gonna do it real quick because I'm super behind schedule here. And we know 22, we're gonna reduce it to a 4. So we always reduce it to the minimum, to the basic number. So he has energy of number 4. Because he was born in January, he has the energy of number 1. And then you go through adding that plus the basic number plus the 2, the zeros don't count. So now you have, I'm sorry, I'm not going to confuse you. I'm going to do it the way, the basic way. The basics way that I can do is this 4, because 22 we reduce it to a 4. He was born in January, so he has the energy of 1 because January is number 1. Then he has 2 2s, and then another 2, that's 3. Now he has 9, and now we're going to add. So the numbers here, okay, so now we're going to add all of this number, 1 plus 4 plus 2 plus 9, 16 equals 7. So now we have another 16. Sorry, I got a phone call. So anyway, so we have the 1, the 4, the 2, And because this is 22, so it's 2, 2. So we have the 2, 9. And now when we add all of that, we're going to get 16, which is 7. So now we're going to put, where is the pencil? This is what happens when we get the phone calls. Okay, this is definitely, sorry, I got a phone call, but anyways, this is a really good example, but this is not my nephew's because his birthday is 2013. So let me do his, so basically we have, let me just make sure that we do a quick recap. We have 1, so 1 here, we have basic number 22 is 4, so we have 4. We have 2, but we also have 2 2s, so we have 2 2s, and then we have 9, so we have 9. And then when we add that, it's going to be 16, which is 7, which is why this is here. So now let's do my nephews, which is 1, 22. I think it's 2013. Oh my God, I don't remember. Okay, so now we have 4. We have 1, we have 2, we have 1, we have 3, and now we're going to add. So we have January 1st, January 1, 2, 2 is 4, 4, and now you also add it here. So 2, 2, and then we have another 2, so that's a third 2. And then we have the 4, I think we added, and then we have the combination of all of those things. 1 plus 4 plus 6 equal, that should be that 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, which is equals 2. So now we have 4 number 2, 1 number 4, 1 number 3, and 2 number 1 because of this one. So let me make sure that you guys have this because I want you to be able to calculate your own numbers. So January 1st, 2022, 2013. One more time. So we have, first we get the basic number of the birthday, the day he was born, the day that you're born. That's, you take it back to the basic number. So if it's 30, it's number 3. If it's 29, you're going to take that back to the number basic. If it's 27, you take it back to the basic 27. So 2 plus 7, 9, 2 plus 9, 11. So that's number 2 and so on. If it's 11, it's 2. If it's 12, it's 3 and so on. So you get the basic number of the birthday, the day that you were born. So now you put that in here where it goes, depending on the grade. Now you go back to the full day. Born on January, you have 2, 2, and another 2, and now 1. So you have another 1 here, and you have a 3 that goes here. Okay, and now for the final calculation, you add all of that. 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 3, because a 0 don't count. So 1 plus 2 plus 2, 5 plus 2, 7 plus 1, 8 plus 3, 11. And now you have, take it back to the basic, you have 2, so now you have 2. Did that make sense? I want to make sure that everybody got that. This is his Lo Shu number. Now, what it means, we go through the ins and outs to calculate all of that and give you the really good idea of what it represents for you. I'm going to leave it here. It's been a long video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much. Please definitely share this with anyone that is learning numerology or that is interested in this, and like and subscribe.